Hey, welcome to Glenda's Kitchen. This is my first effort as showing a recipe. I've had somebody request that they get the recipe of how to make fried chick, and so we're going to attempt that. And you know, I have a videographer as a husband, so I've been coerced into doing it this way. So this is a recipe I adapted from a recipe I found on Best Adventist Recipe Swap for fried chick, or that would be the copycat name. This is actually, you know, the Loma Linda fried chick that we've loved through the years, and it's just gotten so expensive. It was like $8 a can, and so I thought, oh boy, I'm going to try to find a recipe for this, which I did, but then I adapted it a little bit after a time or two of making it. So this is what I've come up with, so I don't want to be plagiarizing from anybody. But I've got out the ingredients here, and I'm an Aldi loyalist, and so I buy the Aldi chickpeas for, I don't know, it's 80 cents a can or something. And I am kind of OCD, so I sit there maybe the night before and squeeze all the chickpeas out of their little covers, but you don't have to probably do that, because what we're going to do is blend them up in a blender. So our first instructions here, it says to mix all the seasoning in 2 cups of hot water. And the water I've gotten hot in here. I've also used the water from the chickpeas, drained the chickpeas through this sieve, and then added the remainder of the 2 cups with the chickpea water. So that's just hot water. Then we're going to add our seasonings to it. And first on the list is 2 tablespoons of McKay's chicken seasoning. You could probably also use, oh, my mind just went blank, the other kind of chicken seasoning. George Washington, that's it. But I always like McKay's chicken seasoning. So there's that. And I'll just get a big spoon here. Then nutritional flakes, and I buy these in bulk at the Village Market. And you could, not sure who else carries them other than like nutrition stores. These are, oh, this was a 1/4 cup. But you can buy this in bulk. This was $6 for this whole size of nutritional yeast. You can buy that also in, I think Publix carries it. Maybe this is just a generic name. Next on the list is 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. This is all going to be combined with our chickpeas when they're blended. 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Yeah, that's a little onion powder. Oh, did I say onion? It's garlic and onion, 1 of each. Okay, then paprika is our other spice, and this is quite a bit. This is a tablespoon of paprika. And you know what? I think that looks, you know, I think that's right. It looks like an awful lot, but I think I'm going to double check that. Because I was just going to town here on this stuff. I don't want to put 2 tablespoons if that was wrong. I think that's what I did. Woo, okay, 1 tablespoon of paprika. Pour in that bag. I don't know what made me think of that. When I looked here, I was looking at the 2 above it. 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt. Okay. Now, we are going to put this all in a blender. And I'm not going to use all the water. I'm going to only put about 1 cup, half of the water in with the chickpeas, so we have room to not overflow the blender here. Something about like that, I guess. Okay. So now we'll add our chickpeas. Chickpeas are growing up in Idaho and Washington State. I've seen them grow up around my brother's place, and They are really multi-purposeful and good in protein. Got another recipe that you can make a chicken analog product with them, and they're great. It's kind of a replacement for the soy protein, which some people can't use or don't want to use. Anyway, okay, we'll blend this up. Okay, I've let this blend for about 30 seconds. It's very loud, so we cut it off. And it's nice and liquefied. I don't want it to splash everywhere. So then we're just going to pour it in a bowl, and you can see it's ground up really nice. Chickpeas, when you get them canned, you don't have to, well, there went one little guy. They're ready to go. Now you can also start, and I've done this in the past, soak your chickpeas and do them yourself, cook them yourself, boil and boil and boil. This makes it a little easier, and they're not that expensive, much more expensive. I'm going to go ahead and dump the rest of my 2 cups of liquid in here and just give it another little pop in the blender to kind of catch all the chickpea puree. And then we'll dump that in with our liquid here. Okay. Now, next on the recipe, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of ground up oats and just stir it till it's mixed up in here. I just use all these oats ground up in the blender, 1/4 cup that. And then next will come your Vital gluten flour. It's called Flour Vital Wheat Gluten. Now, if you're gluten-free, of course, this recipe is not for you, I'm sorry. But that is going to really soak up the liquid and give us our fried chick. So this is 2 cups, yes, 2 cups of the wheat flour. And I remember when my mother used to make gluten and run it under the faucet and rinse and rinse and rinse. Well, those days are gone because you can just buy it this way now. And this will just soak up and get to a dough-like consistency. Okay, this is what your dough now is going to look like after you've dumped the gluten flour in. And I just let it sit for a couple minutes. Let's see what the recipe does say. No, but it does say to knead it for 10 minutes. So we'll get a little taste of making bread here with, and kneading, I may not be kneading it as correctly as I should, but this is just kind of what I do. This is just going to help develop the gluten in it and make it to where we can form it, because we're going to next be forming it into little triangles to kind of look like the fried chick in the can, and baking it. And I've oiled an old baking pan here with sides so the oil doesn't run off. Covered the bottom with some oil, and we're going to form our little wedges and then bake them at 350 for, I think it's 15 minutes in the oven. In the meantime, you'll be getting a broth boiling on the stove, and there are some ingredients to add to the broth, and we'll go over those closer to time. Anyway, 10 minutes would be a long time, I guess. Here we'll need some music to really finish this out. Okay, I've just finished 10 minutes of kneading. Now, the recipe calls to just take a little piece like this, roll it like in a ball, and then form it into a little wedge. So you artistic people can be as precise as you want, but something like that will work. And then lay it in the oil, and I go ahead and flip it over so when it bakes, hopefully this will get crustier. Now, I'm married to a sanguine behind the camera here, and he was asking, could you cut it into pieces? Which would, of course, speed up the process. And I do the slow pokey thing sometimes, so we'll see what it looks like here if we could just kind of pat it out and cut it into triangles. And I really think that could work too. It's just that I go the slow mojo way sometimes. Okay, let's see what we can do here. So we'll just do, well, like a triangle just like that. And then you just have to, you know, you have to be artistic to do this, I guess. But you could probably figure out a way to cut all the way along here. And just make your little triangles. And this might be quicker to cut it than to pull off a piece. I kind of do back and forth, and that one, see, didn't look, that one doesn't look too good, but it doesn't matter. They all go to the same place. Okay, we've laboriously made our little wedges now. You have to count your labor, I guess, as something with these, even though the ingredients are cheap. If your labor's worth, you know, money, you can figure the individual cost out. But we've got probably about between 50 and 60 pieces here, and in comparison, five pieces per can. We're happy with it. This product can be frozen when you're done with it. I use it in an enchilada casserole that I like to make with sour cream, with noodles. Anything that you do with fried chicken, you can rip them up and use them. You know, you just don't have to fry them like they are either, but you can add it to any kind of casserole, just as if you were opening the can. Now, this is going to go in the oven, and I ran out of the one, so I had to overflow on the second pan. 350 for 15 minutes. Then we're going to pull them out and flip them over, and 10 minutes on the other side. So we'll set the alarm for 15 minutes. Hey, these have been in the oven now 15 minutes, and so I'm just flipping them over here. We kind of got a variety of sizes, which is fine. Flipping them over to brown nicely on the other side. There's my alarm going off. And then they're going to go back in the oven for 10 minutes. Before I forget, I wanted to say that at this stage, when you get them out of the oven from baking, you could let them cool and go ahead and put them in a freezer bag right then in the freezer. Then you could put them in your broth when you want to use them. Now, I really haven't tried that, but that's what the recipe says, so I believe them. But we usually just go ahead and boil them all in the broth and eat them. So, okay, we'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay, we've just pulled our first pan of the baked chick out of the oven, and got the oven off here. And then I've been preparing the broth in the meantime, which we're going to split the two pans into halves and do half at a time with this amount of recipe that is on the paper. If you had maybe a bigger pot, maybe you could try it all at once, but it did suggest doing it in two different sessions of boiling it in the broth now for an hour. So, like I said, this is a little time consuming. I don't know how long we've been at this so far this morning, but it's all worth it in the end. Okay, what I'm dumping in, I've cut up 1/4 of an onion to give our broth flavor. And you can use whatever kind of broth you like too. If you just want to buy some store-bought broth, that's fine. I just have followed what I read online. So we've got onion powder, a teaspoon, garlic powder, a teaspoon. This is quite a lot of the chicken seasoning, but this is what's going to make it taste like the fried chicken. Shouldn't even say fried chick, I should say just a chicken analog here. Now, I'm just going to stick this in here and stir this up, because the last ingredient is going to be like a roux for a gravy. So we will put 1/4 cup of regular flour in cold water. And mix that smooth so it doesn't clump up when it hits the hot water. Just like making gravy. Let's see, what else can I say about this? Oh, these things are going to puff up. They look a little wimpy right now, but boiling in the broth is going to make them puff up. Now, they may shrink down a little bit again after you're through with your hour of boiling them. Actually, the recipe calls for letting them steep too at the end for another hour. I don't know that I've done that. I think I get them out of an hour and then use the broth again for my second batch. It usually doesn't end up being used up. There's usually plenty to do for the second batch. So, okay, should have done this ahead. This one kind of labor intensive here, getting all these little powder clumps out. Okay, this is going to just be poured right into your hot broth mixture. And this just gives a little kind of a gravy-like, thin gravy-like broth for the little patties to boil in. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and take most of these, since I divided it. So, see, they're really nice and crispy, a little bit more on the one side than the other. I guess with a little longer time on the one side, but we'll put over half of these in here, stick it back on the burner, and just simmer. Let's see what a recipe says here. Bring to a boil, then simmer the pieces for an hour. And then it does say remove from heat and let steep in broth for another hour. So you're soaking up plenty of flavor here. So this is just going to go back on. I am going to bring it back to a boil. Then the water was hot, but we'll get it back to a boil and then turn it down to simmer. Hey, we finished our hour of simmering, and they look nice and soft and in a nice gravy, which you might be able to use for something else later. But I am going to actually, I think, thin this gravy out, the broth, and use it again for my second batch to go in here. But anyway, this is what you'll do. It's just get your pieces out. You can lose a few little onions in the process. And then at this stage they could be used right then or frozen for later use too. So there you go. Let's see, how much time did we spend on this project? Maybe 2.5 hours?
Probably
Total, yeah. You know, you had some waiting time. So you've got the time to put into it. Ooh, it's hot. Don't burn your mouth. He does like the stuff, and it's pretty similar. Not the real thing. We're just a counterfeit here, but we're a cheap counterfeit.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So anyway, okay.